Sheldon, obviously, we've sort of been talking over the last few days of just how important this back-to-back is coming up here with that rest, that relaxation that you guys have had. What is sort of the focus level here from your group, especially going against a team that maybe has some injury dealings of their own right now?
Well, I think it's the focus is and has been for quite some time just on our game and our team, and coming off a couple practice days, the break that you talked about, and parts of the Washington game that we really liked and want to embrace and build on, which is our second period mainly. So, it's focuses on our game. At the same time, you're going to have a hungry team on the other side. We've played with as many as 8 guys out at different times this year and played some really good hockey at different points there. So that should be nothing changing from our standpoint. And I'm anxious and excited to see how our team comes out to play here today.
When you think about, talking to a lot of the guys just about that second period in particular against Washington, you're just wanting to replicate that. What does it take for this group right now to replicate that right off the hop? Because we've talked so much about those first couple minutes.
Yeah, it's second period hockey is a beast, in and of itself. A little bit different than first and third, a little bit harder that way. But it's more just about the pace and the energy, the speed, and the way we want to work to win pucks back and all that sort of stuff. That's really it. But you're going to have another team on the other side looking to do the same thing. So, we just got to, be consistent with it. We liked how we started the Washington game. I think, we ended up, shooting them 8 or 9-0 to start the first period there. But then the second half of the period, they're pushing back. So it's just consistency is really what we're looking for in terms of our effort.
Is that a lot of, intestinal fortitude kind of thing?
Yeah, I think it's part of it. First game coming back after the Christmas break is always a funny one, but it's resilience. It's it's managing the game very well, understanding the other team's going to have a push, and limiting mistakes while that's happening. That's all the kind of stuff we've been talking about.
Were you happy enough with your group to keep it the same tonight?
Yeah, same group.
And then talking more about the second periods, you guys obviously had an explosive one in this building last time out. Did that period replicate all the things that you just mentioned about what you need in the second?
Yeah, I think, when we've played our best hockey, the second period has been, sort of the separator for us. And we talk a lot about that right from training camp on through. I think a lot of the best teams in the league, they really pull away from you in the second period. And we talk a lot about it and how to manage that and how to create sequences that can allow us to take over games and pull away from teams. So the model was there the last time we were in here, and we've seen it at different times. We just haven't seen it enough. But we're hoping that it can come together here. But as we just talked about, first and third periods are equally as important. We've got to get those right too.
I remember just before the break, you got some of your big guys back, and Jack Gritzuk and Timo, and you said, you can see it needs to come along. I know it's only 2 games, but are you starting to see it basically in practice too?
I think the practices have been helpful. We talked about yesterday, Jack and Gritzuk in particular are coming off of injuries and hadn't played for quite some time, but also hadn't practiced. They didn't get one team practice. So coming out of Christmas and then getting a couple practices the last couple days, I'm hoping goes a long way for them. And then in terms of them coming back in, we had won 4 to 6 games and liked a lot of things we were doing before those guys came back, and they come in and you had 3 new guys with Timo coming back as well. High skill guys, play drivers for us. It kind of changes the dynamic and the feel of your team, and that's what I haven't liked is, we just haven't been as connected and as consistent as I thought we were prior to that. So those guys playing better, those guys kind of making the difference offensively, but also just having our entire unit being connected and playing well together.
When you talk about the connected, is that your team wanting to rely too much on those new people, or is it just sort of just finding a new rhythm with?
I just think the rhythm's different with different guys coming in, but it's also, like I said, the style of the game is going to change a little bit when you have offensive play drivers. You have the puck a little bit more. So the style of the game ends up changing a little bit, and then there's some adjustments inside of that for the entire group. And at times maybe we get a little bit carried away with it, a little careless with the puck, especially when those guys haven't been as sharp with the time missed. But like I said, a couple practice days, for those guys and for our entire team, and I'm expecting it to be, a lot more reflective of what we're trying to do as a team.
I was also kind of wondering, like, Hughes comes back, Meyer comes back, guys start to think, okay, the mail's going to get carried now, and other guys who are kind of driving relax a bit. Is that happening?
Yeah, like I said, I don't think it's relaxed. I think it's just kind of recalibrating the group, And you didn't mention Gritzik in there, but you would know him that as well because he's just kind of making his way through the NHL. But he's been a big part of our team when we're playing well. Is the way he drives a line and makes plays and is good defensively. It's hard on the puck. He's a very important player too. So those three guys coming in, like I said, there's a bit of recalibration there that for our group. Kind of it changes the rhythm, and we didn't find that until I thought the second period against Washington the other day. So that's kind of what we're looking for, and then also for those guys that have missed the time, they've had some practices here now, they've played some games, that they're going to get back to the level that they're capable of too.
You've answered hundreds of questions about Austin throughout your career. He's 5 goals away from breaking Matt Sundin's record. What's something that maybe we on the outside don't see about Austin and the way he scores goals?
I think, like you said, I've answered hundreds of questions, and you've observed and seen a lot. So I think I said it a lot. I think just the work that I know that he does to, to score at that level, the work that he does behind the scenes, the drive that he has in the off season to make adjustments, to find different ways to score, to stay kind of ahead of the curve and ahead of the checking and the defending, to learn from other players, to find every edge possible, whether it's, changing his sticks or just always trying to improve and get better. So, I obviously have tremendous amount of respect for Austin and the way that he can not only score but defend and do so many things really well. So that'll be, when it comes, it'll be a tremendous honor for him and certainly well deserved because of that work that he puts in.
So I was going to ask you about that part of it. You had a real grip on the history of the team when you were here in the organization. The fact that he's going to set this record and the amount of people that have played for the Leafs and it's 100 years old and that sort of thing, what do you think it means historically that Austin's on the verge of doing this?
Yeah, I think it's obviously remarkable, and yeah, grew up in this area and know the history of the Leafs fairly well. Matt Sundin in particular is a guy you watch growing up and end up playing against him a little bit, and you just how great a player that he was, how great a Leaf that he was. I think it's his rightful place. I think Austin has certainly earned it. The evidence is there. And as I just alluded to, this guy that works extremely hard and puts in a lot of time. And it's a great story, too. I mean, you got a kid from Scottsdale, Arizona that comes in to, the Toronto Maple Leafs of all places and has such an achievement. It's tremendous.
Sheldon, last 3 games, there have been hardly any penalties called either side. Is that just the way the game's being called or the way you're playing?
I think it's just kind of the ebbs and flows of the season. Like sometimes guys maybe get a little bit, fatigued and stick penalties and things like that maybe can creep in. And, sometimes the standard's a little bit different in different nights. I do think it's a little bit just kind of ebbs and flows of the season. But, there hasn't been a lot of stuff going on after whistles or anything like that. And the play on the ice has been pretty clean and seamless. I think we didn't really earn power plays the other night until we really started rolling, getting the other team, tired and a long time in their own zone, and then all of a sudden you generate some chances that they've got to, take some infractions. So that's kind of how we got to earn more, and obviously we want to stay out of the box the way that we have. That's the best way to, to have a good penalty kill is to not have to worry about it too much.